What if your body is not working against you? What if some of the symptoms, emotions, and patterns we've spent years fighting could also become an invitation to listen more deeply? Welcome back to You Inside You, the podcast where we explore what it means to know, recognize, and trust the voice of your true self. Today's guest, Manisha Pise, has spent decades exploring one question from many different perspectives. What role does the mind play in the body's ability to heal? Manisha is a neuroscientist, nutritionist, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Wise Body Living. Her curiosity began long before her professional training. Growing up, she describes her family's kitchen spice cabinet as her first medicine cabinet, and by her early teens, she was already fascinated by the relationship between the mind and the body's own healing intelligence. That curiosity eventually led her through microbiology, a master's degree in neuroscience, clinical drug research, nutrition, hypnotherapy, energy psychology, energy medicine, as well as the study of consciousness and ancient healing traditions. Today, she brings those different worlds together through a philosophy I think fits beautifully with You Inside You. Rather than immediately treating the body as something that needs to be fixed, what happens when we become curious about what it may be communicating? We're going to explore the body's intelligence, unconscious patterns, the nervous system, consciousness, and what it can mean to come home to ourselves through a deeper relationship with our body. So welcome to the You Inside You, Manisha.
Thank you, Trina. This is such a treat to even have this conversation with someone who truly understands it from the depth of, theta healing and all that even you are doing. So I love to be here. It's my honor and my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say that I have been in the hands of Manisha. I think I'm just going to throw that right out there. And I have seen the power of your healing. And I would not say healing, because I use that kind of with a grain of salt. I would say the process that you're facilitating in really connecting with the you inside you, the me, my essence, in resolving some things on a deeper level, the root cause, as you often mention it, that really broke a habit that I've had for so many years, really stemming from a childhood. And after session, it was just gone. So all I can ask you is, what happened? How did you do that?
Trina, a lot of times when, it could be a symptom, it could be a habit, it could be anything that we are dealing with. It never starts at the surface. It always has roots. And I say this with humility of knowing that we all are doing our best. And yet there are experiences that happen in childhood, in your womb, maybe coming from ancestry, that you have no idea about. Those are experiences that somebody else in your ancestry had, but it left an imprint on your nervous system, but most importantly, in your energy system. And it's carried in cells, it's carried in behaviors, it just becomes who you are. And we eventually start believing that, oh, if this is happening, or, I'm thinking this way, or I'm behaving this way, this is a problem with me. And a lot of times for me, it's that gentle unpeeling of it's not the problem with you. It's the programming that happened along the way where you and everybody else was doing their best. Yet that programming happened because we as kids, or between the ages of 0 to 7, our minds are literally in a state of hypnosis. So we don't have choice of picking up, hey, I want to pick this belief because it's good for me. This is not, I'm going to push back. No, as a child, we absorb everything. And that those become the foundational pieces of our health, of our relationships, not just with people, but with things like money, time, and even our own self.
Mm.
And all of that starts showing up. And we only notice that, as issues, but those issues started as strategies to survive something that young nervous system did not know better to survive. And my job is to gently guide people to find those pieces where that nervous system was raw enough, was not held, supported, and allowing that programming to gently be peeled away or gently be brought back to safety.
Mm.
So, a lot of work that I'm doing is peeling off those false labels that came in as an interpretation of what happened.
Mm. I love this. And I love having these conversations because I totally believe that everything stemmed from very early on, if not even, past lives and generational. It's in our
Yeah.
DNA, it's in our energy. A lot of people talk about, oh, it's genetic, right? It's passed down through genetics. And it's like, well, I believe that there is a biological part to this. However, it's more in the energy that's actually passed down from the mom or from your parents that is the generational shift that we're talking about at times. And if we're only looking to the body or healing it or putting a Band-Aid on it or giving some medicine, at the end of the day, we don't really figure out the root cause. What I love about what you do is, as a healer and an alignment coach myself and seeing transformational work with my clients, we all have blind spots. And I can do a lot of things myself, but the fact that you could lead me through a process so quickly, which I was definitely surrendering to and open to, could make such an important shift in my life. And so I wonder where it all began, Manisha, because have you always had this knowing? We're talking about the you inside you. When did you come to notice this voice or inner guidance first time in your life?
I would not have a clear memory of this was the event. I think it was this ongoing knowing, and maybe it was passed along. I don't know. But there was this innate knowing that our bodies are really powerful, our minds are really powerful to heal whatever it has created. And it was this deep, initially, it started off as a deep knowing of, the will to live is like the strongest medicine. And I don't know where that comes from. It was just this ongoing knowing for me. And then it was, putting these pieces together. I still remember collecting these home remedy books and reading through them, even as a young child. And probably that laid the framework for nutrition for me, where, I was like, oh, you could have this particular, you have a sore throat, you could have a clove, and that could, release some of that. Or you have a stomach ache, and we have something called as hing or asafoetida. You can drink some of that, and your stomach pangs will be taken care of. And probably even it was my mom using some of these remedies, learning from her. So, and it could also have been a past life influence where I had discovered a life where I was a herbologist, and in an era where things like magic or stuff like that was banned, and there was no science there to prove what we were doing with the body. So you had to keep it all hush. So I can see so many different connections from where it came. But more importantly, it was this deep inner knowing and this quest to find more, to learn more, to put pieces together.
So tell me more about your parents' I was going to say medicine cabinet. Herbs.
Yeah, we had like this host of spices that we would use. Even the way we would prepare food to do things like simply releasing the excess heat from your body when it's, the summers get very hot in India. So our food choices would change. So it was not just the spices, but also different food choices or seasonal food choices that we would make throughout. So it was even weaved into the lifestyle, like having, we would have something called as sesame laddus. And those are for generating heat, building calcium, all of those good things that we would have, end of winter kind of. And it was built into the festivals and festivities that we went through. So I think it was a combination of nature and nurture for me.
Love that. Tell me more about, when you went through research and you went into neuroscience and seeing the placebo effect was treated as something to filter out, because, I went through graduate school too, and I've done the research classes, and it puts on a very different hat than the holistic perspective of energy, and everything really comes from within, instead of just something that we treat in the head, and we have to treat our emotions, and we have to stabilize our mood. And we use a lot of interesting words, especially in the therapy world. Yeah, tell me about what you noticed about that.
For me, the foundation was laid with a book that really changed my life at 14. It was called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And that really gave me the gateway into understanding more about the unconscious and how it can not just impact your body, but it can also impact your life situations, like manifesting and stuff like that. I didn't understand the science of it then, but it just left this indelible mark on my young mind. And I was like, if there is one organ that I want to study, it would be the brain. And then it was, even probably this innate knowing through that book that we can talk to our minds in certain way, that we can shift not just how we are feeling, but how our experiences show up in life. Yet I didn't understand anything about quantum science or everything else that came in later. But I think that foundation for energy, hypnosis, and the power of mind was kind of set there. And then it was just putting these pieces together. At that point, I didn't even know, hypnosis or what it was really. Yet the next book that I read was the one on past life regression by Dr. Brian Rice.
Oh, I love that.
And that was like, if I could do anything, I want to do this. Yet education system is not built for us to find those paths. For me, it came in way later, because we had only a few options that we could choose from. And one of them was medicine for me. And I was like, I could use this when I become a doctor. And that was the path that I was on. And because of some life circumstances, probably it was meant to be, I could not get into that path. And then it was like, what's the next thing? What's the next best thing? So it was almost like my life was guiding me, even through those rejections.
Wow. That's so powerful.
So today I say, thank goodness I didn't take that path, because this would not have been there. This is like, and I still remember being in the hypnosis class and was like, this is it. I was searching for you all my life. This was the power of mind and, the technology. I would call it technology of the mind, to be able to shift not just our symptoms, our habits, but just our experience of life in general.
What do you see that people get stuck in? What is it that people in general with your work of people that holds them back from healing or getting better or feeling better?
For me, I would have answered this question differently. I would have told you about the patterns that I see. But now I see it more like blind spots because of the programming. And I look at the blind spots as you're looking outside from within the system. So you don't even know what's out there. So a lot of times I equate it to the sun could be fully shining bright, but you have the curtains on. And then you would think, oh, it's too dark. I need light. But the sun is always shining outside. What if we could take those curtains off, which are those the blinders that keep us thinking, I can't do this, it's not possible for me, I am not enough, pretty enough, smart enough. So if I could just boil down to the basics, it's the ideas that we have about ourselves from this place of programming, but it's not the truth of who we are. Because if you look at it, when a child is born, a newborn would not say, oh, that's not possible for me. Oh, I'm not confident enough. I can't do this. They would just go and do things. They would not have any fears at all, right? The only two fears that we are born with is fear of loud sounds, which startles our system, that startles, even adults. And the fear of heights or fear of falling, which is that physical sensation where the balancing system in the ears and the brain, that senses that sensation of falling. Those are the real two fears which are really physiological and for survival, right? Apart from that, we don't come, programmed it with any fears as a true essence. We could have programming from past life and stuff like that, but within our true essence, we don't have those blinders. And my motivation to do this work is, who would this person be without these blinders? What would be possible? What gift would open up for this amazing human in front of me?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna pause for a moment and just invite the listener to really just take a pause and reflect on that question. Who would I be without the fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of losing connection, fear of messing up, doing it wrong? There's so many things that on a regular basis that we are just facing head on and we are avoiding. We're trying to get around it. We're trying to push away. We're trying to shame ourselves. We're trying to blame ourselves. We blame others. we have created so many human ways of counterintuitively try to manage these fears. So who are you really without these fears is what I invite you to just reflect on today in your journal, or write down, or meditate, and just allow yourself to have your imagination just go wild. My program is all about living your upgrade. So it's really defining, who are you? What do you really want? If you're going to create your life today exactly the way you want it, what would that look like? And many of us can't answer that. I couldn't answer that about 5 years ago. I couldn't even get a word in my sentence before I would talk about all the things I don't want in my life. So if you're one of those, I highly encourage you to do what Manisha just said, to really, really reflect on, who are you without these fears?
And even, I would say, what would be possible for you?
Yes. Oh, follow-up question. What would be possible? What would be possible for you to do, to create, to be without those fears? Oh, I might be doing some journaling tonight. I love it. So every symptom has a message.
Yes, absolutely.
Where do you have, do you kind of follow a script, or in your experience, does certain symptoms have certain themes? I use a book, Metaphysical Anatomy, I think it's called, that really you can go in and read about the different symptoms, and it's eye-opening what and how different each symptom has, and what themes go with that. What do you mean by every symptom has or has a message, or is a message, and how do you use that?
So it's multifactorial for me, because I do chakra work. I look at the chakras, and each chakra has a theme in your life. So I sometimes start there, and a lot of times it's an intuitive process. Sometimes I may not even go to chakras. But one thing that probably your listeners can use, and that has helped me when I'm doing my own work, because sometimes it's easy when you're held by someone, and they're asking you the right questions, guiding you, and then you can just completely unravel, surrender to the process, and discover new insights to rebuild. But as I said, when we are doing that work on ourselves, we are looking from inside the container, so it would have blind spots. And for me to be able to uncover some of those things, one of the questions that I tend to ask my body is, what is this metaphorically meaning? So it could mean I could have a headache, which feels like pressure. And I would say, where in my life where I'm feeling pressure? So we are translating the sensations, the symptoms, into metaphorically, where in my life am I feeling that? Where does it match?
So it reminds me a bit of the book, The Body Keeps the Score. Have you heard about that? So
Yes.
yeah. That there's so much wisdom in the body if we take the time to listen and become a little creative with, if it had a voice, right? If my knee could speak, or if this habit could speak, what would it say? How is it serving me? Is that how you use it? Is it kind of like a exploration between you and your client, or is it more just an intuitive process that you guide them through?
It's an intuitive process. It starts off with an intuitive process where I am inviting them into their intuition. So it's not just me working through my intuition. We join forces where, and even hypnosis helps. So the client is nicely guided and connected to that intuitive state. From the alpha or the theta brainwave state, we have much more information open to us and insights coming in. And sometimes it's just an idea that lands in my mind as an intuition, and I just play it out in front of my client, saying that if it sticks, if it resonates, we could move forward. If it doesn't, and a lot of times what happens is, even if it doesn't resonate in the moment, we come back full circle to it, because as the client's consciousness changes, they, all those pieces then start to make sense. And a lot of times I find that, we look at symptoms as separate. Oh, this is this organ or that organ. But a lot of times those are interconnected. So there are interconnections within those symptoms that could feel separate. And I also use another system in traditional Chinese medicine of 5-element system, which shows you what emotions impact which organs, because those emotions are processed by those organs, and any stagnation in that organ is going to make it difficult to process that emotion, or it might even make you more triggered if that organ is somehow imbalanced. So sometimes balancing the organ lets the body release that emotion as well. So some of that also happens. So I am usually looking at it from multiple lenses, body, mind, energy, thoughts, emotions,
Yeah.
all of those together.
I love that. What has been one of the biggest transformations or healings? I don't know what you wanna call this, but let's call them transformations that you have seen with the clients that you work with.
Oh my goodness, that would be hard for me to choose. Really, really, Trina, it would be hard for me to choose. There are a few that I can say were great outer transformations, and there were few that were great inner transformations for me to witness because it just shifted my worldview of how things need to operate or work. And I have like two amazing stories. I'll start with one with the physical issue. I was working with a student who had moved to a different country and did not have the insurance set up, no connections, no contacts. And he knew me through someone, and he came to me, and he had like a massive ear infection, bleeding, inflamed, all of it. And my first reaction was like, you need to see the doctor and not me. And yet he was there. I was like, let's work on it energetically till you find the doctor. It was, it was the weekend. It was some kind of long weekend. So it was really difficult for him to even get that appointment. So I was like, let's get your body stabilized till you find a doctor. So the infection does not, because it was so close to the brain, all of that. As a neuroscientist, I know how that can move into a different direction. And I was like, let's at least work on it energetically. And we started working. And as we uncovered, inflammation is about anger, sometimes anger towards self. And when I asked this person, what are you angry about? Or is there something that is creating anger? And he was like, oh, it's COVID and I'm not able to be with my parents. I'm stuck here and I'm not able to manage. He was doing 3 jobs plus a full-time course, all of it. And all that anger was directed inwards. I'm not able to do this. I am, all those pieces. And as we worked through it, it was simple setting of changing these beliefs, emotions, allowing his body to relax. And also, he came up with the solution of how he will manage time. And in that moment, something popped in his ears and the pain went away. And as a microbiologist, I know that infections don't go away that way. They need antibiotics, they need care, all of that. And I didn't have any expectations at that point, but I was just happy that, the pressure in the ear went away, his pain reduced. So I was like, hey, you still need to see a doctor. We want to make sure that everything is fine in there. And I did that session in the evening. Next morning, he calls me, oh, my ear is fine. The bleeding has stopped. Everything is okay. And in that moment, I was like, wow, the body can heal that quickly. Wow.
Mm.
And that shifted my entire 3-4 years of training as a microbiologist, saying that the germs work some way, we need antibiotics, we need even in terms of the body needs that time to heal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me it was like poof, life changing. And after that I don't have expectations of how slow or fast it needs to go.
Yeah. The body has its own intelligence, right? The body knows exactly what to do with it. And sometimes it requires more sessions or more processes for some people. And other times that they're just ready to shift. They get the message and it just heals. That's amazing.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. Oh my goodness. I have another story where one of my client is a nurse practitioner, and she understands some of this stuff and usually uses this with her patients that she sees. And she with her spouse. They were going to go on a cruise. And she gives me a call. Manisha, you need to help me. My husband, he's not been able to keep any food down. Just water and probably coffee is what he can tolerate. And he didn't tell me for the past 3 days that that was what was happening. And now we're about to go on a cruise. And I don't know if I should cancel the cruise. He's saying no, but I'm really concerned. And I asked her, what have you looked at? And she said, I definitely know it's not an infection, but something else is going on, and I'm not able to figure this out. Can you talk to him and, just find out what his body is trying to tell? And I spoke to this person and I asked my usual questions. What is it saying? What's happening? And the person was like, no, nothing. I am anything stressing you out, because digestive system can hold a lot of stress and worry. And the person said, no, actually, I'm happy that I'm going on a cruise. There is nothing to be worried about or stressed. And I explained that, sometimes body holds the symptoms unconsciously for us. Sometimes we give unconscious commands to our body that we don't remember later. And I left that nurse practitioner with looking for things, continuing that question, seeing things. And few hours later, she called me and she said, oh, we figured that out. He can eat now, and we are going to the restaurant for dinner. And I was like, what happened there? And she said, oh, he was trying to fit into the blazer because they click nice pics in the cruise, and he wanted to fit into one of his blazers. And he had told himself, I am going to lose weight anyhow. And what his body was doing was the most intelligent thing, is to, throw out the food that he was eating.
Oh my God.
Losing a lot of water weight. So the weight was
The body knows what to do. Got to be careful what you ask for. Yes.
And in that moment, when he said that, no, that is not what I want, I won't be able to enjoy my cruise, body shifted and he could tolerate the food again.
Wow. It is just powerful, right? What the mind can do to trip us up, first of all, right? And how deep programming can just prevent us from really seeing things clearly. And it sounds like it's a little bit of a scavenger hunt sometimes, right? To really become aware of these parts that are hiding. I'm curious to know, what has been your biggest lesson in life that has made you the person that you are today?
For me,
experience, or
yeah, for me, there's so many things. One of it is to keep learning. No matter how much you learn, there's always something new to learn, to explore, new to learn about yourself, and never to assume that you know everything, because life will keep throwing curveballs at you, and your job is to open and find the gift within. Because the biggest experience or the biggest learning for me that has happened, at least over this past 1 or 2 years, where everything kind of landed for me, was life is not working against us. It's working for us, just like our body. Whatever is showing up as a trigger, as a difficult situation, frustrating situation, it's showing up so you can unpack where you're willing to shift and transform. It's showing up for a reason. And once you transform that, it feels like it vanishes, but what happens at the quantum level, you've stepped into another reality.
Yeah. I love that. And I love the openness, and I love welcoming the learning, welcoming the contrast. And as maybe a 10, 15-year younger version of myself would probably reflect on this and be like, yeah, but there are just sucky things to happen in life, right? And there are really those people that are really hard to manage. And then, you know, the sun doesn't always shine, and it also rains, and my kids just made a mess, and I don't get enough sleep, and yada yada yada. Because, you know, that part of me was very active when I was younger and growing up, because that's how I thought that I would get care and sympathy and attention. But we're all kind of stuck in versions of that sometimes in life, right? Because we're human. What advice, or what would you say to that part of us?
I love that. And thank you for bringing this point up, because a lot of times, you know, the suffering gets minimized. The suffering is real, whatever we are going through. And sometimes we just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, not feeling great. No, like nothing has happened. It's just how life is. It's not a straight line. It's always, you know, ups and downs. But in every moment, it's reconnecting back to yourself. It's finding that connection back to yourself. And sometimes it's as simple as asking, what do I need in this moment? What do I deeply desire? Even when things are not working, even when kids are making a mess, you're like, what is it that I'm really looking for here? And that shifts your attention from what is happening outside to inside, and what it is that you really need to show up as you. And that doesn't mean that you're constantly trying to change things or improve yourself. It's just you giving yourself permission to receive what you need.
Mm. I love that. It's like that time into yourself, like a real check-in to yourself, and something that most of us humans do not allow ourselves to even contemplate on a regular basis. Are my needs important? Do I even know what I want? And I know, and I love how you say, you know, what do I deeply desire? I mean, you're not just going in for a want here. You're going
Yeah.
big, right? We're talking about deep desires, and it can be something small. It doesn't have to be, you know, I want to move to the moon, right? It can just be, I would really like a glass of water right now. I mean, but how can I connect to that unless I really take that time and truly connect with myself and say, okay, this is a lot. Like, life is a lot right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just take a moment and see what do I need to just nourish myself, just take care of
Yes.
myself. Do I need a break? Do I need a glass of water? Do I need a hug?
Yeah.
Yes, and a
Yeah.
lot of times when we want to push, you know, we want to go fast, we need to really slow down. Really
Yes.
slow down.
Slow down to reconnect.
Mm, mm,
It's counterintuitive, but it serves us because we come from a very different emotional state. I look at it as everything is related to an emotional state that you're feeling inside. And when you turn your focus towards your emotional state, and sometimes there would be days where you don't have that mental space. It could just mean, I'm just going to take a breath here.
mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing beyond that, because I may not have energy to think or to contemplate or to journal, but I might just write it down. This is what I was feeling, and maybe deal with that later. Even that act of writing down is your body, your mind, your consciousness knowing that you're paying attention.
Yeah, and it's enough, right? Like at that moment, it's enough. Period.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't stress that enough, because we tend to want to put so much pressure on ourselves. Like, oh, I didn't really do anything today. Well, is that really true? If you took a breath, that one deep breath, or if you wrote an emotion down, like, that could be enough to just make a shift that day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And even I sometimes I don't even do the mindset work. Sometimes it's just energetics, shifting your energy.
Mm.
There are a lot of tools that I teach. We're just shifting that energy that you've sent out, or it's entangled with other people, and bringing that back for you.
Mm.
that can create a massive shift. You don't have to do a lot of mindset work. And I have so many cool stories about you don't do anything, not no thinking, no journaling, nothing, just shifting that energy, and the mindset shifts, how you feel inside shifts, the quality of your thoughts shift. The
Mm.
critique kind of slows down or even goes to sleep sometimes.
Mm. And often that really helps for people that are very analytical. I find that, very logical, um, heavy thinkers, that, shifting things in mindset can really, it has so many like booby traps, like there's there's so many concepts that can catch them and lead them into places where they don't really shift something anyway, right? Because the defenses are just right there.
Yes.
Really bypassing that through somatic work or energy work can be so helpful.
Yeah.
Not only just to slow down the nervous system and slow down the body, but really what I call the back door. You really take the back door in and create that shift and change, kind of like set up the mind a bit, right? And be like, ha, I got you. You didn't know the door was open on the other side.
True. And it always comes back to creating safety in our body. That is what true embodiment is about,
Mm,
creating safety within our body.
yeah.
And the mind can keep us busy, and all that is a great survival strategy. But feeling embodied, I'm here in this moment,
Mm,
that shifts so much.
I love that.
And I also feel it's not just the mind body, it's also the energetic piece, knowing that we are energetic beings. So
Mm,
that takes the blame out of, the self blame that we do. I'm not doing this, or,
mm,
it's, I'm not capable, whatever that label that you're coming from, that gets stripped away. But because now you understand, oh, I'm an energetic being and I'm responding to these energies, but not from a victim state saying that, oh, that person's energy is negative, I need to not coming from that place at
yeah,
all.
I need to get away from that person.
No, it's shifting that energy of relational energy between you and that other person, so you can be in the same room but not get impacted.
Yeah.
That is a huge shift than trying to self protect from
Mm,
that person or that situation, that place, whatever. That is a totally different way of being.
mm. And I love how you brought safety into this. And I would really, again, take a pause and just invite the listeners to maybe the next 24 hours, experiment with, where do you experience safety? The energetic space of feeling safe. Where is that? It can be in very minute situations or areas of your life. You can explore it in your kitchen. You can explore it at your workplace. You can explore it when you go for a walk outside. Are there places or sounds that make you feel more safe? And just attuning to it. And what we really want to do with that exercise is to hone in and start looking for it. Because anybody with a nervous system that's a little bit reactive, right? We tend to look for threat. We tend to scan for what's wrong. We find the problems. We hear people saying the wrong thing or demanding too much from us. So where can you find safety within that? As these things are happening, I invite you to do it first when there's not much around you. And then slowly bring that safety into working around people and things that are maybe more difficult. What can I focus on right now that allows this sense of safety within me right now?
Yes.
Thank you for
And
bringing that up.
I would like to add, sometimes safety can seem big, even ease or comfort, something that does not have a charge associated with it. Sometimes safety can have a charge,
Can.
something that's ease,
Yeah.
comfort.
Yes. Yes. So you pick a word that is a neutral word, something that maybe make you feel good, positive. and to lean on that and go scavenger hunting. Yes, I love
Love
that.
that.
And I think it was Alyssa Nabriga that talked about personal growth is really the expansion of tolerating adversity, learning to expand our tolerance for adversity. And isn't that what we're trying to do here? This is not about floating on a pink cloud and becoming zen with everything, because we live in a human world where we have emotions and we have health issues and we have different things. We have contrast, right? It will happen. And that allows us to grow. And as you should beautifully say, find the learning in it, listen to it, get curious about it, see what the lesson is. And it probably takes it goes a lot quicker, right? It goes a lot quicker to get out of the adversity and finding the beauty on the other side when we are more open and listening. Did I get that right?
Yes, and I also want to add this, through my own experience when we are on the learning journeys, there are times where, no matter what we try, the messages don't come through, the pieces don't fall together because we need to go through a lived experience. It's not just insights, but sometimes we go through the lived experience to learn. And even in those times, not thinking that because you didn't get the answer or because you asked the body and still didn't get response, something is wrong with me or it does not work. Understand that because you're seeing it from that inner kind of space, you're not able to see beyond. Sometimes having someone from the outside reflect back to you lands so much differently. I
Absolutely.
always say
Yeah.
this: don't go to a therapist who does not have a therapist. So,
I love
yeah,
that.
I mean, I'm always working
Yeah.
on myself. I
Yeah.
never say, oh, I know it, I have everything, in shape. I always say to myself that I am a masterpiece and a work in progress.
Mm. Mm.
That some usually lets me shift some of what I am dealing with. I don't have to be done. I don't have to be, I get everything. I am, enlightened, whatever you want to say it. No,
Mm.
there's always something more that evolves. It's always coming back home to you.
Mm.
And for me, the biggest way of tracking that is how often do I feel safe within myself, safe to show up as me. And there would be times where, something happens, something triggers, and I'm out of it. My job is to find a way back sooner. So I'm shortening that distance of
Mm.
finding whenever I'm triggered, coming back to me, shortening that time, that distance, and even awareness to know here is where I'm out of sync.
Mm. That's so beautiful. I really like that. And it's very practical. And I remember back to a younger version of myself that really did that work over and over. And I still do. It's not that stops, but it was harder to find my way back. It was harder to not continuously look at externals or thinking that something outside needed to change. Really practicing that. It's a muscle. It's a habit. It's something that we have to practice on a regular basis for it to become natural. And when it does become more effortless and reward kind of gets high as well, it's just easier. It's easier. There's a lot more freedom in that.
Yes, yes. And it's as you practice these states, it becomes more a neurological state. So you literally have brainwave neural pathways that connect and strengthen. So that becomes a part of who you are. And eventually it is less effort because your brain is doing it automatically, running that program automatically.
Mm. Well, I
And
love what you do. And I thank you so much for, sitting down with me and just spilling your expertise and who you are. You're such a bright light, and I just love your energy and love being in your presence. If people connect with you and want to get hold of you, because I just love what you tie together, because you're so knowledgeable about, research and the body and the brain, but you bring this very deep transformational work that takes you through a process of just literally transforming your mind to show up, to become someone new, become a different version of yourself, like a better version of yourself, right?
I would say true version of
A
yourself.
true version.
The
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to find
reality.
the words. There's no better words. Thank you,
Yes.
Manisha. Yeah, your truer version, coming back to you, being home more, right? Being free, being at ease. So where do people find you?
People can find me on my website. They can reach out. I would love to talk to anyone who reaches out, because I know how powerful this work is. And even on the outside, if I can't see what would shift, I know it's going to be way amazing than what I can ever imagine. Because as I said, when we take off those layers, we might think we are working towards a goal, but the shift that happens, the profound shift that happens at the quantum level, because you are operating from a whole different level. And in the quantum physics world, we say observer changes the outcome. So you're literally changing the observer, and the outcome shifts.
So beautiful. And before we part, any final gold nuggets for people listening? Any advice, any suggestions?
I think I can leave your listeners with something that I do myself, and that creates a massive shift in energy, especially when someone is caught up in their heads or feeling like they're not feeling like themselves, right? There is a lot of astrological energy coming at us. So, sometimes the mindset work does not work doing it on your own. Sometimes just shifting energy works. So I would like to invite you, Trina, if you would like to do this with me. Just taking a deep breath. You can keep your eyes open or close. And just connecting to the center of your being. Usually people connect in the center of the chest. But notice, where is it for you in this moment? And just breathing in through this space. I call it the God spot, which is, your spirit embodied. And from this place, calling all your energy back from people, places, events, experiences. And really centering yourself in the center of your being. So when there is anxiety, our center of consciousness has moved forward. When we are not feeling great, we are looking back, it has moved backwards. I want you to bring it bang in the center of your being. And from this place, releasing any energy that you might have picked up consciously, unconsciously from other people. These could be thoughts, images, emotions. And the big thing about energy is we cannot process other people's energy. We can only process ours. And we are sending that not back to them, but to their higher selves to manage it the way they want. And sometimes as healers, we pick up energy, so releasing that. And again, bringing yours and only your energy back to you. And all you have to do is intend and notice what shifts in your body. And taking a deep breath. And choosing a color that makes you feel at ease, comfortable, or even at peace. So you get to pick the state that you would like to be in. And if there is a color, breathe that into and fill up your entire body, cellular spaces, every nook and cranny, and even 360 degrees around you, glowing with this color. And whenever you're ready, coming back with a smile, knowing that you've shifted something that you needed in this moment.
Wow. Thank you so much. I feel it.
Yes.
A soul sister from out there at a different realms. I love this so much. Thank you so much, Manisha.
Thank you. Thank you, Trina.
So Manisha left us with her wisdom, really giving us a new perspective on how our relationship is with our body. So I will encourage you to listen to the wisdom of what the body is telling us instead of what's wrong with me. Instead, using curiosity, asking the body what you're noticing, instead of immediately judging the symptom, the emotion, or the trigger, or trying to make it disappear, we can become just curious about it. We can listen, we can allow ourselves to experience what's here without making it mean something is fundamentally wrong with us. And I think that's such an important part of coming home to ourselves, as Manisha says. So for everyone listening, I want to leave you with this. What might change you stopped fighting your body and started building a relationship with it. Listen to it. As we said, what happens if you let go of that fear? And what are you without that fear? Get curious about that. Maybe write about it. And this might be the doorway to opening up for knowing, to something much deeper than you had realized. So thank you, Manisha, for joining us today. And for everyone listening, be true to yourself, the you inside you, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.